Hey, what's going on, guys? Tennessee Kid, checking in one time for a little quick story, man. At the subscribers' request, they wanted me to finish the story of how I got home after I broke out of that cult, or ran from the cult. So that's what I'm gonna do. Quick shout out to K Frog. Appreciate you, bro. Like, that was real shit, man. I really appreciate you rocking with me now. No hard feelings, man. I really appreciate it, bro. Salute to you. But anyways, let's get into this story. So this is 2009, like a couple days before the Yankees won the World Series. This happened in November. So I'm walking down the street. I've got a phone under my dad's plan that I had in my pocket, right? He didn't know that I had left yet. So I call him. Boom. I call him. He tells me to get effed, cuts my phone off. So I've got this prepaid phone that I got from the place, but I don't have anybody to call on it. So it was really pointless to even have that phone. But anyways, I used it after I tried to call my dad on my phone and he cut it off, then I was calling him on that phone, but then he just blocked that number, and that was it. So it just really became useless after a while. But anyways, so I go to Penn Station trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I was tripping, bugging, at this point. I ain't got no bread. I'm trying to figure out how to get a bus ticket, whatever I got to do, at this point. So I'm chilling on this little wall at Penn Station, at the Greyhound station, like near the exit. And this Italian cat comes walking down my way, and posts up next to me. This dude is got I don't remember what brand, man. It was like Gucci or something, but it wasn't the Gucci print. It was like just a black trench coat, but it had a little Gucci thing on it. And the shoes matched, the suitcase matched. Dude was fly, you know what I'm saying? He was Mr. Superfly dude. So he posts up near me on that same wall where all these people are on their phone and stuff, just chilling, and he starts hollering at like every girl that's walking by, just going, "Hey, ciao Bella," over and over and over and over. And he's going to the water fountain taking these pills, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I end up striking a conversation up with the dude, and he's cool, So I told him what's going on with me, and he's like, "Man, that's messed up, man. You're a good kid. My brother sent me money tonight. I'll give you a bus ticket home, man. Just hang with me today." So I'm like, cool. So we go. He actually buys me some food and shit. We're chilling. We're outside now, just trying to bum cigarettes. And I could not bum a cigarette to save my life. But for some reason, this dude, anybody he asked, they would give it to him. It's insane. Cigarettes are expensive as hell in New York. It's hard to get somebody to give you one. So we're just chilling, and so that whole day, I'm cool, because I'm thinking, he's gonna give me this bus ticket, and it's gonna be cool. So hold on. So about 7 o'clock rolls around. We go to a phone, and this was when there were still pay phones. Not many, but there was. So why this dude didn't have a cell phone, I don't know. It was very. You'll understand later. He's calling. Of course, no money gets sent. So I'm like, oh my God. So I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. But now this dude does have cash, and he's like buying me food and shit. So of course I'm going to hang with him. Who the fuck else am I going to hang with, So that night we stayed in the Greyhound station. And because of the way we looked, like I was a clean cut white boy. He was an Italian. I looked like his son, essentially. That's how much older he was than me. So we just looked like a father and son traveling, because when you stay all night in the Greyhound station, the cops will sweep through checking for tickets, and they'll kick you out, but they never even checked ours. So we stayed in the Greyhound station. That shit was rough, of course, it's always rough sleeping somewhere like that. But next day comes, and he's just, constantly saying it's going to be okay. He's in like the best mood ever. I don't know how. So he's like, "Man, fuck it. Let's go sell my watch." So I'm like, okay. And I haven't seen his watch at this point. And we go to this pawn shop, and you can think I'm full of shit or not. I really don't care, because this is exactly what happened. So we go to this pawn shop. This cat, it wasn't a Rolex. It was some nice designer watch he wanted 10 grand for it. He didn't tell me any of this until we walked in, and then he takes it off, and it's like this baller ass watch, and they looking at it like, what the hell? And he wants 10 grand. Well, they offer him 8. He doesn't take it. Why? He said, he told me it wasn't worth it, but still, like, what the hell, bro? We're out here struggling. Dude, sell the watch. You know what I'm saying? But he won't. And that was it. So he's like, man, let's go get some Starbucks. I'm like, okay. So we go do that, and just bullshit all day long, pretty much. I'm just sitting with this dude, hanging out, walking around, bumming smokes, talking shit, hollering at girls, whatever. But, mind you, I'm dragging a freaking duffel bag around in a broke-ass suitcase. So the second night, we do the same thing in the Greyhound station, and it worked fine. The third day, let's see, the third day we go, and we were trying to. Oh, this is when he's like, man, we'll go to this church in Brooklyn, and they'll help us, and they'll at least give us some food. I'm gonna try to get some money. He said he knew these cats, so we go all the way to Brooklyn on the train. This dude had he had a couple $100 cash on him, so we were able to do all this. So we take the train, go to Brooklyn, go to this church. It was somewhere in Little Italy. Like, this is some weird shit, bro. So we walk in, and he's like, all right, sit right here. So I'm sitting in this church in the front. He walks in the back, and you can see, man, in the back, there's just dudes back there eating and shit. I don't know. They didn't look like they were, preachers or pastors or whatever. But so as the door, as he walked through the door, I could see it, but then the door shut. And he comes back out, and he's got more money, but he's still acting like his brother is going to send him the money to give me the bus ticket home, because the bus ticket's only $100, and I know this cat's got more than that in his pocket, and we just went and got more. So I'm like, none of this shit is making sense, but I have no other option. I'm kind of in too deep at this point, I feel. So what happened the third night is when, we tried to go to the Greyhound station again. Actually got kicked out that night. So we go to Central Park, and no, it wasn't Central Park. It was damn, I don't remember what park it was. It was another park. It wasn't Central Park. It was somewhere near Penn Station. But we sleep in this little tunnel thing it's like on the walking track, and there's like this little overhang, and so we just sat under there back to back all night long. And like fucking Forrest Gump and damn Bubba sitting there all night trying to sleep. And mind you, he's got this nice ass suitcase. I got a bright ass red Nike duffel bag. So, we're looking like, just easy targets at this point. But no one messed with us. Not one person. I'm talking mad people walked by, you know what I mean? And not one person said a damn thing. It was weird as hell. So the next day, we get up, and he starts asking me, like, if I was to still go home, could he, before I went home, he wanted to rent an apartment in my name, right, and pay me $3,500 a month just to keep this apartment in my name, and then he would send me the money every month back home, but then he would send me home once we got the apartment, and then that was it. So, like, he asked me this, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that. You know what I mean? And of course I was down. I don't give a shit at that point. I was still a junkie, so I was down for some money just for that. I mean, shit. I mean, looking back on it, obviously that would not have been a good idea, but at the time I didn't give a shit. So he said that. So we're like walking around. He's not telling me how we're gonna do this or when. He just asked me this shit. So a couple more hours go by, and all of a sudden the phone, my original phone that my dad got me, rang, which meant that he obviously was going to help me. So the phone rang, I answered it, it was him, and of course he was freaked out because I'd been on the streets of New York for days now, and so he ends up Western Unioning me money, getting me a bus ticket home. Yeah, he was definitely an enabler, for the record. But, we've all gotten past all this shit now. This was, like I said, in 2009. So, let's see. So he gets me a hotel. So I tell him about Filippo. That's the dude's name. Or said that's what his name was anyways. And I'm telling him how he helped me, da-da-da-da-da. So we get a room together. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, dude, you gotta help this cat out. So he did, and so he got a room with 2 beds and let him stay until I got my bus ticket, until I got on the bus the next day. So I'm like, obviously I'm relieved at this point. So We go to the hotel. We check in the hotel, get changed and shit. Finally, take a damn shower, and we're gonna go get some food. So we go to Ruby Tuesdays in Times Square, and this is just a random side thing that was really funny that happened. But while we're eating, like sitting at the bar was happened to be Hillary Clinton's one of her secretaries and her son were eating there, and because she was talking to other people at the bar, and that's how I heard that that's who she was. But that was just a weird thing that she was sitting right next to us. But mind you, this is also November 4th at this point, and this is the night the Yankees won the World Series against the Phillies, bro. When I tell you that city was on fire. So we go to eat, and we get some drinks and shit. And so I call my dad while we're eating, and he gets on the phone with the Italian dude, and he's like saying like that he wants to like do business with my dad and all this other shit, like made all these plans, right? So we go back, we eat, and then we walk around for a while because like I said, they won that night, so the city was crunk. And so we're just walking around, I'm drinking and shit, and just chilling pretty much. And so we go back to the hotel. He passes out. Well, now it's time for Daddy to find some dope. So I jump on a train, go up to Harlem, and usually there's lots of people out there in the daytime, on the corners and shit. Well, this time at night there was nobody up there, man, not a damn person. So I'm just like shit. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm walking around. Well, this older black gentleman comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey man, you smoke?" And I'm like, "Smoke what?" He's like, "Weed, man. Can you roll a blunt? I can't roll." And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, let's do it." So why I decided to do that, I will never in my life know. So we go around this corner. If you're familiar with New York, the basement apartments, they got those stairs that go down. Well, up there the gates aren't locked and shit. So we just walk down one of those. So I'm ready for this cat to pull out the weed, right? What does he pull out? A crack rock and a pipe. And I'm like, oh my God, bro. Oh my God. So he starts smoking the crack, and then he starts getting paranoid, telling me to be quiet and shit. And I'm not even saying anything. So I'm starting to get pissed off at this point. But I'm kind of pinned in this fucking basement staircase. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm about to do. So I'm just standing there watching him, and I'm like, all right, so maybe he just wanted to smoke the crack first. He's gonna pull out the weed next. You know what I mean? If I was a crackhead and was gonna smoke crack, I would want to smoke that before I smoked the weed. You feel me? So that's what I thought he was doing. Anyways, so he finishes it up, puts it back in his pocket all nonchalant and shit. Now I'm really expecting him to pull the fucking weed out. What does he do? He gets this close to my freaking face. Sorry, I don't know which way to look. I don't know if I should look at the screen or the camera. Sorry about my dogs barking in the background. But he gets that close to me, and he's like, "I want to suck your dick." And I'm like, what the fuck? And I just back. I mean, at the same time I'm coming back, it was like a fadeaway basketball shot, but I threw a punch. You know what I'm saying? It was like, wow, and I just caught him perfect from the boxer button. I do believe God was with me that night because, I can hold my own in a fight, don't get me wrong, but to connect like that and drop him once hey, that was some lucky shit. But so I smashed him, take off running back up them stairs, I had to jump over him, run back to the train. I'm like, fuck that, I will just not get dope. That's just all there is to it. So I go to the hotel, wake up the next morning, and we're back, me and dude are talking and shit, and he packs his shit up, and he's like, "Hey, I'll meet you downstairs." I'm like, all right, so I pack my shit up, come downstairs, this fool is gone. And I'm like, what the fuck? I've never seen him again, ever in my life. So I had like 3 hours or so before I had to take the Greyhound, or actually it was longer than that, I think it was like 5 hours. So I went to the Greyhound, you can get a locker at the station, so I put my shit up, and jumped back on a train. Now I'm going to get the dope because I got to get some for this long-ass bus ride home. There ain't no way around it. So I go up. I found somebody, but, I didn't know this area. And this cat led me way deep down in Spanish Harlem and shit. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's just getting sketch. So he sells me the stuff. Everything is fine. And we're walking back. He's taking me back to the train. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, man, turn against the wall." And I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought he was the police. This motherfucker thought I was the police. He's patting me down for a while. I'm like, dude, are you the fucking police? You already sold me the shit. I snorted something in front of you. What's the fucking problem? He's like, "Sorry, man. I just got paranoid, man. They're just on the roofs and shit." I look up. There's fucking cops all over the roofs. I'm like, he's like, that's normal apparently over there. It was at that point. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta get out of here, dog. So I had me a little 30 sack, whatever, it was just plenty. And for that shit, for the H, well, you know, like I said, this was in 2009, people, okay? I've been off of that shit for 7 years. Don't fucking start hating on me. Now, I didn't get clean after this in 2009, so that's why it's only been 7 years. So don't try to jumble up my fucking timeline. But, and this is all hard, very hard to remember. I had to actually look up when the Yankees won the World Series before this video so I could remember when the hell that exactly happened. So I get the dope. Like I said, I finally got back to the Greyhound station, and I went home. And so that's the story, you know. So that's just a little taste of one of my escapades. Been through a lot of shit that I put myself through. My pops helped enable me a lot, and because he just wanted to get rid of the problem, which was me. So that's just how it was for a long time, man. I had a rough go of it for a lot of years, man. But after like 5 rehabs and let's see, 3 stays in county, just like a couple weeks at a time for bullshit, and a mental ward. I'm finally married. I have a 2-year-old son. I have a full-time job, full benefits. I'm just a regular old dude, man. I see people trying to hate on me in the comments saying that you must not be from the streets or something. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I never said that I was. And the fact that you're bragging about it means that you're a lame. Being from the streets is like, I'm not saying it's lame, but if you're making me feel bad for being a regular working person because you're some gangster, then yeah, you're lame, bro. So anyways, that's my story, and we'll continue the saga of the Tennessee Kid later. Peace.